If you're one of those folks who maybe doesn't human well with other humans, or, if you're a person who is maybe a little bit more introverted, or somebody who just doesn't require a whole lot of engagement with other individuals, and maybe people have, told you you're a hermit or antisocial or whatever, names aside, if you're one of those folks who just doesn't have to human as often with other humans, we're going to discuss kind of why that might be, why that's not a bad thing, and just a little bit more about how you can exist in a universe where you can still human with humans, but you don't have to do it with the same degree or with any of the negative connotations that maybe other people have brought to your attention. Hello, fabulous. I hope today is treating you kindly. If you would be so kind as to pretty please with sugar on top, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you haven't done so already. I would sure appreciate it. And if you have done so, perfect. Thank you so much with extra glitter on it for doing that. I very much appreciate your support. So, we're going to talk about folks like myself who just don't necessarily need the same amount of socialization as other people. I know that I've been accused of having a little bit more introvert qualities. Um, and we'll talk about that in a second, what introvert energy is versus extrovert energy, and the difference between a social battery, like your social battery gets super full when maybe you've had a lot of social stimulation versus actual social engagement. So I was watching a podcast recently. It was Mel Robbins' podcast with Dr. Leslie John from the Harvard Business School. And she has done a lot of studies and a ton of research regarding like what she calls oversharing, which is beautiful. This is a really cool podcast. I think you should definitely jump in. And it says, let's see, the title of it is hold on, How to Become More Confident, Influential, and a Better Communicator. So what she mentions, what Dr. John mentions in this podcast is the difference between social engagement and social stimulation. So let me give you some context for what that means. I personally have more introvert energy, meaning that you've heard introvert extrovert, right? So introverted people, as it's been described in society, are folks who just don't want to people with a bunch of people all the time. Like they're a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved. They have a few closer friends, family that they'll engage with on the regular, and then everyone else they could just kind of do without. And then we have the extroverted energy, which is super gregarious, out there in the world, talking to everybody, just blah, 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 out there in the world, just like they've never met a stranger. They love to be with people all the time. So there is a difference between those descriptions of the way a person presents and introvert energy and extrovert energy. So, as I understand it, introvert energy refers to people who need to solitude, they need to be alone in order to recharge their battery. So people with extrovert energy, they need the stimulation of other beings, other humans, in order to charge their battery. So they don't feel like they can, just refresh themselves, re-engage, feel energized, unless they're in the company of other people, preferred people generally. Whereas introvert energy is much more like, I don't need a bunch of stimulation from out there in the world. I just need to be with myself and my thoughts. And that's how I draw energy. That's how I recharge my batteries. So now that we've kind of got that figured out, that can give a little bit more perspective. Like, for example, my husband has big extrovert energy. Like, he definitely wants to recharge with other beings. Like, he wants to human with humans, wants all the attention, all of the things. And that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with any of this. It's just understanding the differences between yourself and maybe other people and understanding yourself better, which kind of is the point, right? Whereas I have the introvert energy where I am very much like, I need quiet, I need peace, I need solitude. Please leave me alone so that I can kind of re-engage, recharge for the next engagement. So Dr. John talks about the difference between social engagement, which is quality interactions, generally with people that you care about. So this is like having a really meaningful conversation. It doesn't have to be that deep, but it's a conversation or an engagement in which you and another human feel good about that whole experience. You both feel recharged. You both feel like there's genuine connection between the two of you. And that feels good and enriching and feels like a quality experience. Whereas social stimulation, which you get a lot of out there in the world, peopling people, is just being in a setting with other beings and there's just a lot going on. And it doesn't even have to be a situation where it's noisy or overwhelming. It's just an environment with other people, right? So you can have a social experience where you get a lot of social stimulation, like humaning with other humans is a lot of stimulation. I get this, like I one of my preferred activities is to go shopping, right? And shopping with a bunch of other humans is definitely social stimulation for me. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to crawl back into my cave now, not engage with anyone for another month because I'm set. And it feels like your social battery has been completely drained, right? Because you've had a lot of social stimulation. Whereas when you've had social engagement, two people or more people, could be a group of people, where you're all in and there's like this mutual respect and everyone has kind of a similar goal. So like when you're doing a group project or you are engaged in a game or something where everybody's social alignment and energy are all focused in the same place, where everyone feels connected to each other and connected to themselves and they just feel like this is a really quality experience. Everyone benefits. That can be recharging to the batteries. So if we think about all of these concepts, the idea of introvert energy versus extrovert energy and social engagement versus social stimulation, it can actually put a much greater context on our experiences humaning with other humans. So if you're a person who maybe like me has more introvert energy, requires less social stimulation, i.e., being out there with the people, and more social engagement, i.e., quality experiences with one or more people, then you're going to be more uncomfortable in situations where there's a lot of people or it just feels chaotic. Like grocery stores are terrible for me. I hate being at the grocery store because nobody really wants to be there. They just are there because it's one of those necessary evils for those of us who actually want to pick out our groceries and not trust the, virtual shopper or whoever to get us the best quality bananas or produce or whatever. So next time you're having a social experience, right? Think about how your batteries recharge, how social experiences land. And obviously, the social experiences are going to be different depending on the group that you're with. So you're going to respond differently to friends than you will to family in some cases, or friends versus coworkers, family versus coworkers, people at your church, people at your book club, or whatever the things are that you do. Notice your response. Notice that social battery and differentiate, if you can, whether or not this is a quality experience for you. How do you come away from this experience? Do you feel aligned with folks? Do you feel refreshed? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel comfortable? Next
Or do
time,
you feel like, oh my God, thank God that's over?
just, I can't human with other humans. I can't even talk to my dog at this point. Like that's too much social stimulation for me. Just notice the difference. And again, it's not bad, it's not wrong. If you're a person who likes a lot of social engagement or social stimulation, you like being with the people, that's great. I love that for you. Go do that. just notice how it makes you feel. Notice how you respond to engaging with other people. And especially pay attention to the engagements with people that maybe you spend a lot of time with, friends, family, coworkers, whoever. Just notice the difference. Clients too. Obviously, clients are folks that many of us deal with on the regular, and so that is its whole different ball game. And just notice your response. Notice if you feel energized. Notice if you feel like you have quality interactions with the folks that you're engaging with. If you feel good when you come away from those experiences, or if you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Just notice. Just notice. And then once you've kind of paid attention to the patterns, if there's certain individuals that you feel like you have a better engagement with, or maybe sometimes it's the experience itself, like you and your best friend can go to a concert together and have a great time, but if you and your best friend are working on a mutual project and you're ready to tear each other's hair out, I mean, that's important information too. That's definitely data that you can take into your next engagement and just start to do little tiny experiments with yourself and the people that you're with about, how can I adjust the context of this engagement in order to have the best outcome for everybody? How can I feel most engaged? How can I honor myself and my preferences and honor the person I'm with or the people I'm with and their preferences? How can I make the best of this situation? What minor tweaks can I make in order to improve this experience for everyone? And I feel like that's a valid thing because, especially for those of us who,
Next
maybe
time,
don't have the same social styles, engagement styles, or needs as maybe our partners, friends, family, coworkers, it can be challenging. There can be a lot of headbutting sometimes. And we want to try to eliminate that because we want to allow space for everyone to be honored in their being, but also have a quality experience, whatever they're doing. And maybe if some changes need to be made, like if somebody makes you feel gross, then maybe you don't be with that person as much or at all, if you can swing that. And, there are ways in which you can do that. If you need a buffer person, I've been the buffer person plenty of times. It's not my favorite thing. It's definitely not my favorite thing. Being kind of the in between for people that are uncomfortable engaging with each other. In a professional context, that's definitely different, but in a like family friend situation, that can be a bit more challenging. But just notice how those interactions go, what variables you can adjust or adapt in order to kind of best honor yourself and the others that you're with. And maybe pay attention to those engagements that are not, or those interactions that are not the most engaging and not the most meaningful or supportive to your soul. So I hope that this information has been helpful for you. Again, check out that podcast. It's really good. It's fascinating because there's a lot of different information that research has shown that's very I wouldn't say contraindicated, but it's counterintuitive to what you would think would create a quality social experience, especially at work. But yeah, check it out. I'll link it for you below. And thank you so much with glitter on it for choosing to hang out with me today. And I hope that you have a sparkly rest of your day.